Howdy, Possum Patty here and Flat Stanley too. Today I will finish my Hello Autumn journal, and when I mean finish, I mean it is all journaled in. And I'm going to use the last 2 pages right there to tell you about Flat Stanley's latest adventure. Come on along. Well, maybe you're wondering where Stanley went on his latest adventure, and maybe this can give you a little bit of a hint. What do you think that is? Do I see any hands out there? Yes, I do. This is a tartan, and Stanley is wearing it as a sash. He's not wearing a kilt, so I guess that gives you a pretty good hint, okay? And this particular tartan is the design for the McCann family, okay? The McCann family, and I do have some McCanns in my family tree. So Stanley thought he'd honor them by wearing that one, and he also liked that one because it's kind of blue and oranges, and that's what he was wearing. So now you have the hint of where we went. Yes, we went to Scotland. Really, we went to Scotland. Here's the sign to prove it. This is Scotland, Connecticut. And Scotland every year on Columbus Day weekend has the Highland Games Festival. Yes, you can go to Scotland and see the Highland Games Festival. And there's a lot of other activities there. Oh my gosh, what a day it was. So I'm going to put together a couple of pages and I'll talk about and show you a lot of things that were going on in Scotland. Yes, in Scotland. But before I do that, excuse me, Stanley, for a moment here. Okay, last 2 pages in the Hello Autumn journal. And then it's moving on to October. Now that's the end of October, but you know, more fall journaling, just a different journal. And oh my gosh, this was a lot of fun. I love the colors, the autumn colors and motifs, and we got apples and pumpkins and lots of fall festivals of all kinds, visiting friends and fairs and activities, fall nature, planting, mushrooms, all fall stuff. Oh, before I get on to Stanley's big adventure, that's right, I wanted to show you this page. Now, if you remember this page, all I had was the word frost and these 2 pictures, and that was it. And I was like, I'm just going to make this page plain. Well, and that didn't last long, you know me. I decided I wanted to add a fairy. So I started looking around at fairies and different things, and or a Jack Frost, because it's obviously it's frost. So I found this really cute little vintage image of sort of a fairy Jack Frost. There's a lot of glare in here. And he has a little poem, Jack Frost in the Garden by John P. Smeaton. Jack Frost was in the garden. I saw him there at dawn. He was dancing round the bushes and prancing on the lawn. He had a cloak of silver, a hat all shimmering white, a wand of glittering stardust, and shoes of sunbeam light. Jack Frost was in the garden when I went out to play. He nipped my toes and fingers and quickly ran away. I chased him round the woodshed. But oh, I'm sad to say that though I chased him everywhere, he simply wouldn't stay. Jack Frost was in the garden, but now I'd like to know where I can find him hiding. I've hunted high and low. I've lost his cloak of silver, his hat all shimmering white, his wand of glittering stardust, and his shoes of sunbeam light. So that is true. When the frost is out, I have to go out very early in the morning and chase it around the yard before it all disappears. Because as soon as the sun comes up over the trees, and hits the leaves and all the objects below, the frost disappears. Then I decided to add a little more gold, and I know the Jack Frost thing is all white and silver and stuff, but I'm going with gold, right? Right. I think the gold looks fine. And I put this gold trim, there's like the leaf ribbon, I put the gold trim there, and then I'm like, these letters were too neat and plain, so I added a bit of gold glitter glue and dabs of gold gouache. Just with my finger like this. Just kind of break it up and make it look a little more frosty and not solid gold. And I added some of the same glitter glue and gold gouache, which is a opaque watercolor, around the card that I made. And I made it flip open so that you can see the two pictures that were already there. And to the pictures in the background, I added these gold, well, they're snowflakes, but I can pretend that they're frost crystals, right? Okay, you already saw the pictures in the last video that I made for this book. So I think this adds a lot to the page. And then I went back and I watched parts of the video, and I was like, the leaf that I had picked up with the frost on it, and I was making it sparkle in the sun, well, I still had that leaf. And I decided I would put some sparkle Mod Podge on that leaf, and I put it on both sides like that, and I put it in this this little cellophane bag here, and I used some more of this gold leaf trim. I have very little left, and I sewed the bag onto this scrapbooking paper. I used the white paper with the gold dots that's on the background, a frame of these photos. And then I decided, of course, nature journaling, to add a little bit of information about where this leaf came from. And I love these trees. Now, this tree is actually across the street, not in my yard. And it sits in the woods. People across the street have woods for a front yard. And after some of the leaves fell from the trees along the lane, I could see a little deeper into the woods. And when I looked up, I noticed this tree. And this tree is called a quaking aspen. And the leaves do turn gold color in the fall. And the aspens have a very long, flat leaf stem, petiole. And with the slightest breeze, all the leaves just shake like this. And it looks like the whole tree is shimmering. I love quaking aspens because they sort of add movement and sound to the woods. I haven't found one on my side of the lane, but that doesn't mean there's not one there. And there's a lot of very interesting things about aspen trees besides this wonderful golden movement that they bring to the forest. But they do move when they're green too. But in the fall, it's like a gold shimmering. I love it. I love it. And they are like the first trees to maybe populate like a burned out area. And some people call them weed trees because they just start sprouting up. But I don't think they're weeds at all. I think they're beautiful trees. And they spread through clones, which means if you have a tree growing here and the root will come out and then a little sprig will sprout up from the root, which means it's the same exact tree. And you might have 100 of these, or it might be covering acres with actually all trees that are identical, the same DNA, because they're just more sprouts of the same tree. So maybe they grow like a weed. That's why they call it weeds. I don't know. I don't think it's a nice name for that tree. And apparently this area of clones can live for thousands and thousands of years. And some people think some of these areas of clone aspens may be some of the oldest living things on Earth currently. So, I mean, they're just amazing trees, and I love to watch them. So I added a little information from the nature book, and I added the leaf. So I had pressed it underneath a board in the kitchen for a little bit, so You know, when you put them in the book, you want them to be dry. Of course, they turn a little brown, lose a little bit of the color. And then sometimes the Mod Podge will keep it soft. And, yeah, when they get very dry, they're brittle and they fall apart. All right, I know I talked too long. So let's get on to Stanley's adventure in Scotland. Oh, my gosh. So we went to Scotland. And Stanley wore his little tartan sash. And we had never been to the Highland Games before. And it was huge. It was amazing. There was so much to see and do. That definitely will go back next year. And I cut some things for the page. And I took some pictures. Of course, I'm going to put Stanley in front of the Scotland, Connecticut sign. He's wearing his little tartan. And the first thing we saw at the games was the bagpipers. And this bonny lass was practicing her bagpipes. Well, we had gotten there. Some of the dancing had already finished. But there was a lot of bagpiping going on. And at noon, they had, I don't know, they had several groups of bagpipers with drums representing different organizations. And they sort of did a parade into the center field. And then they marched around and they did formations and they played a few songs and they highlighted each group. It was really fun. I mean, the music was awesome if you can listen to the bagpipes for a long time. But it sounded really good because, you know, you're outside. So, you know, it's a big sound, but that's okay because you're outside in this big field. And I got a close-up shot of them while they were marching to and fro the big field. After that, we did go to the clan village. Now, the Scottish have these clans, and I'm learning more about it because I have to learn more about it because I have to figure out which clan I belong to. So I had gone into several of the clan tents. Now, a clan is not just one family, but a whole group of families that were maybe under a chieftain, all from a certain area in Scotland. So even though I know that I have Scottish blood now, I have to find out which part of Scotland these relatives were from so I can figure out which clan I belong to. So I talked to several different clans. I talked to the Guns and I talked to some of the other clans. And one clan sent me over to the MacLeod because I told them somebody on the family tree, their last name was Cloud. And he said, well, MacLeod meant son of cloud. And so he sent me over to the clan MacLeod tent. And their symbol was this bull. And their motto was hold fast. And I love their yellow and black tartan. So I took a picture of their sign. And then one lady was so nice. She had the bull costume on. And she had some of the tartan ribbons on. And so she said she would take her picture with the Stan. So there's Stan the man with this Scottish bull. Now she was really funny. She apologized for wearing that particular costume because she said that she is getting a Scottish Highland cow costume. And it hadn't come in yet. So she had this ordinary brown cow costume on, bull actually with the horns. So, yeah. So we have to go back next year. She has the proper costume to be the Scottish cow. Maybe we can get another picture. And because, wait, where's Stanley? Hold on. And because I told her we had clouds in the family, she made Stanley an official member of the MacLeod. She gave him this sticker with the 3 different tartans. There's different tartans for this clan. I guess this is the well-known one, the yellow and black. But then they have their 100-year celebration tartan. Well, she was giving out samples of the tartan to members of the clan. And she said we could be members of the clan. At least I find out more information. So right now we belong to the MacLeods. She gave me some information, the MacLeod Society of Scotland. And on the Society's 100th anniversary, they developed their own tartan to commemorate that. And it's a really pretty, I'm sorry about the glare, sort of blue and red and green tartan. So I want to put this in here, and I might back it on something. She gave me a MacLeod magazine, the Clan MacLeod. And I think I probably put that right back there. And because I didn't have a print that looked like that, I printed this out from the internet. And I thought maybe I would cut this down to size and make a pocket. And on the pocket, I have a Scottish flag here. I love this lion with the fleur-de-lis all around. I thought the yellow and red would look really nice on this for background, but I did choose a little bit different paper to back it on, just for contrast. And this does have the red and black in it. That's how it all goes. And you know I don't care about that anyway. So I am going to cover this with this and put this on for a pocket. And then I'm going to put some things that I got at the games in the pocket. Scotland Highland Festival Kids Passport. I asked them if I could have one. They thought it was a little wacky, but yeah. Oh, Stanley's a kid. I need something for my Stanley. And it's got facts about Scotland down here, and the flags, and their official symbol there, the thistle. I bought an iron-on patch, but I think I'll sew this into my slow stitch book, make a pretty background for it, because it's really, really, really pretty. I could not pass that up. I didn't buy too much, but I bought the little flag, and I bought the thistle there. And the people who were selling this stuff were actually from the UK. And then one of the clans gave me this postcard, the castle. I thought, oh, that's awesome. Scottish castle in the Highlands. So that's got to go in there. And this is the Scottish armigers. And they make the arms for each clan, I guess. So I have to learn all about this. I have to, this winter, get back into my ancestry now that I'm Scottish. And I didn't know I was Scottish. I've got to go in and research where in Scotland so I know which clan next year to go bother. So I had some of these plaid papers. And these are actually like from Christmas packs of paper. So I figured I could use them. There's another one. Oh, that's the one I put on. No, that's a different one. Gray and red, but that's kind of pretty too. I had some more stuff under here. Let's see. What can I pull out? The American Scottish Foundation. Oh, this kid was really cute. He was from Scotland, and this foundation in New York City, they pay for these Scottish youth to come over here and share their culture with the Scottish youth here in this country. Yeah, kind of interesting. So he was all excited to be in America and teach about Scotland. And so I went to see the guns because I think we may have somebody in the family that related to the guns too. So this is the gun again. So I'm not really sure. So I'm going to keep all the guns and all the MacLeods and all the Scottish stuff in the journal until I can research and then go back next year, next fall, to the Scottish Highland Games. All right, so I'm going to work on cutting this all down and making a pocket, and while I'm doing all that, which is not terribly interesting to watch, well, you know, maybe it is, who knows. I'm going to tell you more about the Highland Festival. But I got to keep my eye on the camera because it's probably going to shut off, so I'll keep checking that. So, of course, it's Highland Games, and what does that mean? Well, they have the Scottish Games where they, you know, throw the weights and do things like that. And yes, they were doing that. They had a whole field of them, and the men had these big giant weights, and they had to fling them down the field and see who could fling it the farthest. And yeah, they were talking about, these guys were flinging them like, you know, 15 feet, 20 feet, and one guy got up to like 30 feet or 40 feet. The guy saying, well, the professionals, you know, they go 70 feet, 79 feet. So he said, but for the beginners to throw them like 50 or 60 feet or even 40 feet, I guess was pretty good. Yeah, I love they make that big grunting noise and they spin around in a circle and then they let go of it. It hits the ground with a thump. And then the guy runs out with the tape measure and measures it. Well, this is not quite wide enough for here, but you know what, that's going to be okay.
40 feet, 1 inch.
Probably trimmed a little bit. No, I only took like a hair off the other side. Oh well, it's just going to have to do. Or I can leave the little border on there. Let's see what that does. And then I realized that, well, first of all, that was crooked. I just replaced the cutter. Why is it cutting like that? I don't know. That the women were having the games too. And there was this bar, and the women would throw the weight over backwards over this bar. So they'd stand with their back to the bar and fling the weight back over their head over this bar. And they would keep raising the bar, and, you know, until people got out and they couldn't do it anymore. And then I guess the winner was the one who stayed and got the weight over the bar at the highest point. So, yeah, and these women were strong. Mamma mia, flinging this thing, this heavy weight over this bar. I have a pencil here? No. So those were two of the games that were going on. I did not see them toss the pole. I've seen that before, where they have this great big giant pole and they sort of flip it out and it goes rolling across the field, end over end, not on the ground, you know, not rolling like that, but bing, bing like that. But I didn't see that there that day. So all the games are very exciting, and there was a lot going on in that field. And there was a lot going on with the marching bands. Stanley liked the marching bands. He thought the bagpipes were pretty cool. I decided to sew the pocket on. I showed you what the pocket looked like before. And then I glued the paper to the background. And then I decided to add a little bit of this glitter ribbon from the Dollar Tree. Yeah, Crafter's Square ribbon from the Dollar Tree. It's from the Dollar Tree, and it does shed a little bit, as you can see over here on this page, but that's okay. And I did get a little glue on it, but that's okay too. That's okay. So that's what it looks like. And I've got all those informational pamphlets and things in there. I put the Scotland Highland Fest on the front because that's where I got everything. And now on this page, I thought this weathered plaid would make a good background. And I wanted to put this cover. It's got the McLeod tartan there. And this man is standing in front of, oh, it said this on the thing. Chief Donald with grave slab of Roderick the Seventh. Okay, so I thought that was important. But I like the little bull up there. I need to put my picture somewhere, so I have 4 pictures. 2 at Stanley, 1 of the McClan, which is actually the same as that, so I really didn't need to print this one out because I've got the bull on there, but that's okay. And the Bonnie Lass with her bagpipes. And I've got this that I can use somehow. Oh, and I wanted to put this in there too. So, I could make this another pocket. I could make this a flip. And behind that, the pocket with the castle. I don't know, then should I bring that ribbon across here? Bring the 2 pages together? I think that would make for an interesting spread. Oh, this has got the information on the back. Does that fit in there? Okay, I think if I sew close to the edge, I could trim this just a smudge. Alright, so, I am going to do something. I'm going to do something here. Okay, let's use a different plaid. Okay, I haven't used this one yet. That one I used over there. This is a different one. I think that's about all I have. So I put this on here. And then I could fold that back and glue that under there. And then on here, I could put this on here. I could sew that on there. If I sew it at the top, then I could always flip it and look at the information. And if I sewed this on as a pocket, I still haven't put my 4 pictures somewhere. So I can make a journaling card out of something. Alright, so I'm going to go sew. And when I come back and work on my gluing, I'm going to tell you about more music at the festival. Okay, I took this to the machine and I sewed the postcard of the castle on as a pocket. And now I am gluing, oh, and I sewed the tartan on here. I got glue on. And this is going to be the backing for that magazine page. And I think I have an idea for this magazine page. But so let me tell you about the music. And there were harps, beautiful harp music playing. I think it was a competition, actually. They were taking turns, and it was so funny. The one lady we were watching, her harp wasn't in tune. You know, you move these things around. You got to tune them up, got to tighten up the strings and stuff. And she tried to tune it, and then she started her song. And then it wasn't sounding right. And she stopped, and she asked permission to tune and start again. And the woman, I think she was a judge, said, "Yes, please." Like, we can't stand that noise anymore. I thought that was funny. But the harp music was beautiful. And I already told you about the bagpipes. Oh, so there were fiddlers. They had the fiddlers. And there was like a fiddling workshop. A fiddling around workshop. And we watched part of the workshop where the you can just, I guess, sit in, and the instructor was teaching a new song, and they learned a new song. So it was kind of cool to watch the instruction. Sit in. I take keyboard lessons, so that was kind of interesting to watch how they got their lessons. And let's see, so we had the fiddlers, the harps, the bagpipes, and the drummers. Oh, and then there was country dancing. We missed the you know, the traditional kind of Highland dancing with the tap dancing stuff. I don't call it tap dancing, but you know what I mean. But there was country dancing. Yeah, so we watched them do their country dancing. I shouldn't have put glue on that part till I folded it. That's okay. I'm folding this over so I can glue it in. And of course there was food. By lunchtime there were very long lines for the food. And then I noticed on the side there was a little field next to the historical homestead. This takes place on a historical homestead in Scotland there. And there was a pen with some sheep in it, so we went over to check it out. And there was traditional, what do you call it, border collies who were trained to move the sheep about. And I guess traditionally this is how you move them from one field to the next with the collies. And one of the pups was just learning, and she was so cute. She was so eager to get out there and move the sheep around. She just could not wait her turn, and she was pretty young too, and she was just learning how to do it. So they used the one dog first, and then the old pro dog, you know. And then they made him go lie down by the truck, and they let her do it, and she was so excited to be doing it. But it was almost like, you know, like he was watching every move she made. He just wanted to get out there and do it with her. Oh, it was so funny. Yeah. And I think that was the very last thing that we did. But we decided it was a wonderful day. The people were so friendly. We had such a good time. That definitely it's a must-do again. And that is why I really need to get into my ancestry and check out which clan I'm from. So next year I'll be going to the right clan tent. It was so funny. I was going in and out of the tents and talking to the people, and they had books and they were looking up. I brought a list of a couple of names I thought might be Scottish on the family tree, because you know our family history is we are English, Irish, and Welsh, and DNA is telling me we're Scottish too. So that about covers the UK, I guess. And yeah, so I have to figure out which one was Scottish and where in Scotland he was from, and then from there they'll figure out which clan. But according to the surnames, it may be MacLeod, and it may be a Gunn, or it may be both. So I've got to get that all figured out. And if you're from Scotland, or if you're Scottish, or if you know anything about clans, feel free to comment below, because this is going to be a whole new adventure for me. Figuring this out. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, so I go into one tent and give them the names, and then they look at the names and say, well, maybe go over to this other tent. And then I go to the other tent, and they're like, well, maybe you should go over to this other tent. And so they look it up in the book. And so when I got to MacLeod's, I told them, they threw me out of everywhere. They told me to come over here, go see the MacLeod's. I thought it was funny. And I was so happy that they were so open to the stand man there. Okay, what I'm planning on now is I took some brochures from this pocket. I'm calling this page done. And I put them into this page like that. And if I have any more information about the clans, maybe from that little magazine, I'll put it in this page too. I am going to put the Bonnie Lass down here next to the castle, I believe. Where's my little one? I'm going to trim her a little bit if I could. Sometimes it's hard to trim little bits. So I got my little cutter out. Well, I had to fuss with that a little bit. Get it cut down. I knew what I need to put in here. The date. I need to put the date on here. And I need to find a piece of paper. I'm going to cover him up and put some pictures here. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll use Stanley's thing up here and put that MacLeod thing here. I can always print out another one. I saved it. I'm going to do the rippy thing. Make like a banner. Okay, that looks whiter on one side, doesn't it? The reason I like this image of the tartan was that it looked like material with folds in it. It wasn't like just plain straight flat kind of looking. So I thought that was very cool. So I'm going to put that right on there. And I'm going to put that right on there like that. And then I'm going to put those brochures in the pocket. And then I am going to, a little extra glue there, do that. It's a plan. It's a plan. Okay, I've got that glued down, and I think I'm going to cut this to the shape of the shield, because we certainly don't need that person's foot. Not an important part of the picture. And then it's got a little bit of daylight at the top. So now I just have the shield. If I can get it, my gluey fingers to open it up. There we go. And I'm just going to put it right there. Perfect, perfect. Okay, back to this page, and then I'm going to be done. Okay, I decided to add a little bit of this sparkly black ribbon to carry it over from this page down to here. I've got my Scotland, Connecticut, and Stanley down in the corner there, and Stanley with the McLeod mascot bull. My whole journaling is October 9th, Scotland Highland Festival. I guess I could write up a card and about all the things, but this video is also sort of like a vlog where I'm telling everything that happened and showing everything that happened. So this is a journal page, but there's a lot more in the vlog part of this journaling session, I guess. Maybe I will recount some of the highlights. So I wrote that on here with my Secura glaze pen, so I'm trying to give it a second to dry. And this is the pen, nice shiny black, and it writes on surfaces. This is sort of like a linen texture on this paper, so that's why I use that. And can I turn the page? Let's see, looks dry. There's my tartan, my McLeod tartan. I might cut those a little bit shorter. Here is my Bonnie Lass and Highland Castle, my McLeod tartan motto there on the shield, and all I have to do is slip this into the pocket and happy dance. Happy dance, happy dance, happy dance. The journal is done. Well, this turned out to be a very fun September journal that lasted almost all the way through October. And I didn't even make it that big, but you know, that's okay. I still have adventures to put in the next journal. So I will wait a couple weeks and then I'll come back for all those who, instead of watching every single page and hear about every single adventure separately, who just want a chatty flip through, of course I will do that. But I think the individual videos are fun too, because you get a little bit more information while I'm doing each page and why I'm doing everything. And look at this, was certainly a fun page to do. And I've got doors and all kinds of flips. Tried a different technique in the background. Got my nature in there. Found a cluster from last year. Got a belly band. So I tried to do a variety of things in here. Make it fun to go back and look through. I haven't put anything on the cover, but I may not. I may or may not put something on the cover. And I did change my frost page at the end. So there she is. Quite colorful, quite fun. And I just want to thank everyone who... Oh, chunky, look at that. Ooh, nice. I have that headband from the Dollar Tree. It was just here a minute ago. Oh, it's on the floor. Say bye. Oh, I gotta bend down. Okay. I've got it. One of my Dollar Tree headbands here to put around that. And I could add some charms on here too. I can put some charms on here. I could add more. Could always add more to your journal. Always, always, always. So I just want to thank you. Did I say that already? Getting distracted. For coming along on this journaling adventure with me for my September into October Hello Autumn Journal. I will put the playlist below. And I will say good night. Bye-bye.